WWE might have a huge problem on its hands, and I want to actually talk about it because I don't know if WWE is truly outsmarting us, if they're working us, or if they are doing all of this intentionally. But I have found that WWE has a big problem, and yes, I think it's actually a good problem to have. Now, we have seen over the course of the last month the impact that Jacob Fatu has had since being in the WWE, and more specifically WWE SmackDown. That is, of course, until Roman Reigns returned. Now, the OTC, the original tribal chief, Roman Reigns, has returned to the WWE as a massive babyface, and he was trying to get back at the Bloodline. But instead, somebody was missing, and that was Jacob Fatu. Now, a lot of this stems from the fact that WWE could potentially have Jacob Fatu be selling a fake injury. Now, if you guys don't know, influencers, content creators such as the Haroon twins, they recently posted a video clip of them, and this video has surfaced where you can see Jacob Fatu in a walking boot. So when Roman Reigns returned last weekend on SmackDown and he went up the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu wasn't there. But is this because WWE has a trick up their sleeve, or is Jacob Fatu truly injured? And it got me thinking that WWE has multiple ways to go about this, and it's actually really intriguing because let's just say theoretically Jacob Fatu is not actually injured. Well, what would be the purpose of WWE pretending that he does have an injury? It's obviously very clear. Jacob Fatu is the star of the Bloodline. Roman Reigns took out Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa was barely able to walk away. But if Jacob Fatu was there, it would have looked really bad for the Bloodline if Roman Reigns cleared all of them by himself. Because the reality is, at what point does Roman Reigns need Jimmy and Jey Uso? So it got me thinking that WWE is intentionally keeping Jacob Fatu away from Roman Reigns, and Jacob Fatu will somewhat be the equalizer in this situation, which then calls for Roman to ask for backup. And then it would make a lot of sense for Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman to orchestrate the reunion between the Usos and, of course, Sami Zayn. But that, of course, is if Jacob Fatu isn't legitimately injured. Now, another thing that we should also discuss is the possibility of Jacob Fatu switching sides. Now, we do know that Hikuleo is set to join WWE. We don't know exactly what his new name is going to be. It might be Tala Tonga. We don't know. But he hasn't joined Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. But if he were to join Solo Sikoa's version of the Bloodline, Roman Reigns would be outnumbered significantly. But I keep seeing this theory that maybe Jacob Fatu could be switching sides to Roman Reigns. And I'm just trying to understand why that might be the case. Because what's also really interesting, and I don't know if anybody has noticed this, but on SmackDown, when Solo Sikoa was being given the Ula Fala from Tama Tonga, he also had a very interesting reaction to handing it over. And part of that tells me maybe WWE has some big plans for him as a singles guy on WWE. Now you might be wondering, how am I getting that out of this? Well, do anybody remember when Solo Sikoa handed the Ula Fala to Roman Reigns months and months ago? The way Solo Sikoa looked at it basically planted the seed for everything we are seeing today, which is him being the tribal chief. So I have to wonder if Tama Tonga's in that situation where maybe they have big plans for him. But then it goes back to Jacob Fatu. And I'm not trying to confuse you, so bear with me. Why would Jacob Fatu switch sides when they haven't planted a seed for that? Or have they planted a seed for it and maybe we're just not looking hard enough? See, the reality is Jacob Fatu is essentially everything they wanted Solo Sikoa to be. Let's just call it what it is. I love Solo Sikoa. I think he's doing great in this role. I think he's a fantastic performer. I think the IWC loves giving him shit because he came from NXT 2.0. But I think he's a good, talented wrestler. And I think he's doing a really good job of leading this Bloodline storyline. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he got called up from NXT, joined Roman Reigns and the Usos, and they planted seeds for this. But at the same time, too, in my personal opinion, I can understand how people look at Jacob Fatu as the better superstar. Jacob Fatu is absolutely incredible. He is also talented. And so the thing that I'm looking at here is that maybe WWE doesn't want Jacob Fatu to overshadow Solo Sikoa. Hence why WWE would have Jacob Fatu join Roman Reigns and become a babyface. I don't like that theory because I don't think Jacob Fatu should be a babyface. I think Jacob Fatu should be a heel. I feel like he should be The Rock's secret weapon. And I think if you're the WWE and you have him fake an injury and take him off TV for a little bit, I think it sets up for a more impressive heel run for Jacob Fatu when he does eventually come back and attack Roman Reigns, because that should be the first moment where Roman Reigns truly looks weak. And if I were the WWE, I would do that and then have Roman Reigns call for backup, and that could lead to the story of the babyfaces reuniting and taking out the Bloodline one by one. But of course, we don't know what's actually happening here. We might be getting worked. We might not be getting worked. And if Jacob Fatu is actually injured, which is a very big possibility, by the way, if he is actually injured, it still works out in WWE's favor anyways, because you got to keep him away from Solo Sikoa, because you don't want him to overshadow Solo Sikoa, and you got to keep him away from Roman Reigns, because you don't want Roman Reigns to make Jacob Fatu look weak just yet. At some point, there will be a moment in time where Jacob Fatu looks weak, but he should get the upper hand on Roman Reigns. And that should be the significant reason why Roman Reigns makes the call and gets saved by the babyfaces. I love this storyline for so many reasons. Honestly, I really do. I know some people get tired of the Bloodline stuff, but this is a really intricate storyline with multiple different seeds and layers and just so many different things that make it a great storyline. We haven't even seen Paul Heyman return yet, which I think that's going to be really interesting. Hell, we haven't even seen Roman Reigns take a mic yet. He has not said acknowledge me just once. But the reaction that Roman Reigns is getting is so incredibly good. And that's because Roman Reigns went from being the ultimate bad guy to now being the ultimate good guy. And we're going to see that translate over the time. And eventually when he opens up a promo telling the city that he's in to acknowledge him, it's going to be a game changer. In the moment that he even attempts to do it, that should actually be the moment where Jacob Fatu attacks him to create even more suspense and more intrigue. Because eventually when he does it, that pop is going to be absolutely massive. Either way, this is a great storyline. Got to give props to WWE here. I don't know if Jacob Fatu is truly injured or not. I don't know what it is. But they created a massive problem that's actually really good here. So despite having two talent that are very close to each other in style and everything, I think both guys will walk away from the storyline in a very positive way. And I would love to see WWE eventually turn the tables and have Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu have a feud. It's going to be really interesting, but I want to know what you guys think down below. Thanks for watching.